Good morning and welcome to another JoyClicks breakdown. My name's Christian Buckley. I'm joined by my co-host of Jedi Knights, our Star Wars show, which missed this news by like 15 hours, Mike Connors.
Seriously, that weird. This happens to us every time, Christian.
Every damn week there's something. Every week. Also joining, again, continuing the streak of this week of breakdown every day, Kevin Diaz.
This is officially the week of dreams. The week of dreams right here. All right.
It's wild. Like,
what else did you break down?
So Monday there were some trademarks about Final Fantasy VII. Kevin and I both love that game, so we're excited about potential new projects. Yesterday we talked about the Indiana Jones game, which was announced from Lucasfilm Games, which again, we got announcements every day from Lucasfilm this week, because Monday, I believe, was the, hey, Lucasfilm Games is a thing now. Tuesday was Indie. Today, we're learning that Ubisoft, and specifically Massive, who does the Division games, are making an open-world, story-based adventure single-player game set in the world of Star Wars. And, oh, Jesus Christ. That sentence.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's
literally let's go. Yeah,
it's such good news, and I think Massive is an awesome pick for this because I only recently experimented with Division 2. I think last March I played it. That was like my March last year. I just played a lot of the Division 2. Kevin, I know you played Division 1 and a lot of Division 2, so you're a fan of Massive.
Yeah, the first one wasn't that great.
Okay.
All right. Like, didn't love it, but I saw what was going on with there. I appreciate it for what it was. Division 2 fixed everything and then some on of course the game and everything. So they've definitely proven themselves to, like at least be able to pick up where they may have slipped up here and there and able to make a good game, obviously, with Division 2. I love this pick, right? I think you put out a tweet that we're, of course, going to get into where this is clearly going to be a shooter, clearly going to be a Mandalorian game,
Yeah.
That's the only thing I see fit, So I'm very excited for this. Very excited for this. There's a level of like tightness that I think you can understand too if you have also spent a lot of hours in the game, where like I feel like a certain tightness to the controls and how they make the gameplay feel in their games that I think is going to translate super well to a Star Wars game and stuff like that. So
sure,
I'm very, very excited for it.
And Mike, I'm not sure if you've played Division, but do you have a history with that? And I mean, like Ubisoft also, Assassin's Creed, they have a ton of awesome open world games, but like what's your vibe on Ubisoft for this pick?
Well, yeah. So I've never played the Division games myself. I've obviously heard a lot about Division 2. That's the one that takes place in DC, right?
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, that looks good. And I mean, in terms of Ubisoft, I guess really the only thing that I'm like most familiar with would probably be Assassin's Creed. I guess like my question would be, Kevin, you said that this is definitely a Mandalorian game. I guess I'm curious why you think that. Is it because of like the developer or?
To be fair, Christian tweeted that. I would just referencing the
okay.
home. But I think I would. I mean, but who knows? Because honestly, I mean, I wouldn't have told you, on Monday that I would ever see Machine Games, in the near next couple years make something that is allegedly going to be a third person, action adventure game and go outside their genre bounds, right? And like I think it's a little bit more like on the contrary of that whole point of it being a different genre. We've definitely seen Ubisoft, at least this generation, kind of very much like stick to their formula, big open world, checkbox open world, and gameplay that doesn't really change from game to game, but is refined from game to game, and mostly kind of stays within the bounds of what they've originally set out to do in this particular IP. So I mean, maybe there is a chance that it could be something else, and they could be just stretching their legs and do something else. But I think that I think that I would like to see a bounty hunter game. I think more than anything else. I think out of Massive, you know.
Yeah, and if you just continue on that train of thought, like Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, open world, hunting people down, like it writes itself. I feel like, you know, like a bounty hunter game, maybe not specifically a Mandalorian game, but Mike, you and I have talked about this almost every week or whenever we talk about Star Wars games. A Mandalorian game makes too much sense with how much they're pushing Mando. Boba Fett's back. Like, even look at like at the start of the Disney purchase, like the end of the original run of Clone Wars was like heavy Mandalorian stuff, and the return of Clone Wars was heavy Mandalorian. So I feel like getting Ubisoft, the company that makes a game about assassins, to make a Star Wars game, like I feel like we explore the world of assassinations in Star Wars, and that just makes perfect sense for a Mando.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, when we look at Respawn and everything, they've made a really great, like, sort of like Sekiro-esque Jedi game. And if we're going to go down another path with more Star Wars games, it's definitely going to be something, in my opinion, you know, more like, you know, bounty hunter based or something. And we know that LucasArts, previous to Lucasfilm Games, was interested in making bounty hunter games. Like Star Wars 1313, which was canceled. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. I just love the fact that we're getting more Star Wars games. This is exactly what I've wanted for like years, and
8 years.
The fact that it's like literally years. There used to be so many Star Wars games that came out like back in the early 2000s and everything, and we've just had kind of like a drought. So this is
Agreed. One thing I'll say too, again, as somebody who played only a little bit of Division 2, I think, like Kevin was saying, Massive is a great pick, not only for the way they make games feel, but their world design. Because, Mike, let me tell you, when I played Division 2, I was blown away at how they created DC. I've never been to DC, but it feels so lived in. It feels so real. It's dirty. I know Kevin really loves the way that Massive and the Division handled New York in the first game and in the DLC for 2. So, like, Kevin, imagine that level of TLC for, like, Coruscant or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like, real quick aside, right, to just, you know, gush about how they do world design. Years ago, I was playing Division 1, right? My dad walks into my room, and I have the map pulled up on the game. And he like does a double take. He's like, wait, no, like I used to work here at this building. And then he sat with me for like 10 minutes going through each block, telling stories about this bodega over here on this side, and like, oh, my aunt worked over here, etc. Like completely laying out one for one. Like they did a really, really good job at recreating New York, even from like a block by block standpoint, right? So the fact that like they're able to take that detail and also carry it on to what we've seen in DC, where I also have never been to DC. You probably don't want to go right now, but you know what I'm saying? Like I've heard a lot of different people online, you know, talk about DC as well. I think the biggest name I know is the Black Hokage. He streams on Twitch and stuff like that. He is from DC. Or I don't know if he's from there, but he lives there right now. And he said they did a very, very good job with DC overall as well. So they're able to do a lot of detail. And this even goes beyond Division. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is one of the like most vibrant looking open worlds I've ever seen. And most recently, I feel like that's not being talked about a lot, is Valhalla. Valhalla looks incredible on PS5. Like I will stand by that game aesthetically. Like it looks jaw-dropping, you know. So it's clear that they're able to make open worlds that, you know, really are ripe for exploring, ripe for just looking at in general. And Star Wars is cool to look at. So I mean, like it's gonna be, has to be fire, you know. Has to be fire.
Has you guys have probably played Watch Dogs, right? I mean, I'm wondering, is that sort of open world as well?
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious if we're going to see some sort of like, I don't know what that says about you know, this acquisition or this partnership that they have.
Yeah, I think just honestly, this generation, with the exception of like the last like 8 months, I've really loved Ubisoft, and specifically the way they handled open worlds this generation. I'm with Kevin. I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an excellent open world, and when I think of open world games, like a AAA open world, I do think of Ubisoft. And I think everything we've talked about so far, just with the way they tackle open worlds, I'm really excited for them to tackle the world of Star Wars, because whether it's like what we talked about with the care they put into their worlds, and just, you know, how even with something like DICE and Battlefront, there's such a care on making the world feel authentic, and they like scanned props from the archives at like Skywalker Ranch. So I truly think that the way they flesh out their world is going to be pretty dope, and exploring that is going to be even better. Now, while I do think it's pretty presumptuous to assume that it's absolutely going to be a bounty hunter game or a Mandalorian game, it makes a lot of sense to I think all of us, but I don't think, and I think this is worth reiterating, there's no way in hell that they revive 1313 the way it was, if that's anything, right? Yeah. Like, that team is long gone. I was talking with somebody the other day, and they were like, hey, like, the way that people migrate in the games industry, those people are probably working on Fortnite right now. Like, there's a lot of people that are in a lot of different places. It's a game that was built for the PlayStation 3 and 360. Like, 1313, the way we all think of 1313, is dead and buried. The concept, though, the idea, I could see repurposed, at least in some sort of way, if nothing else, just to, like, generate hype. Like, I see maybe on the Ubisoft stage at E3 one year, it's like, hey, we all know everybody wanted to explore Coruscant as a young Boba Fett. So Massive Entertainment presents Boba Fett Origins, or something like that. Like, I think there's a chance, you know, we could see a perfect storm where we get a what-if scenario, not necessarily 1313, but yeah, there's so much potential with this announcement, I think. And also what it means for the future of Star Wars games, because I've seen mainly people like Jason Schreier saying, oh, looks like the 2023 expiration date for EA isn't going to be renewed. Now, it makes me wonder, when the hell does this game drop? You know, does it come out after 2023 and the contract expires? Does it come out in 2023? Did they just start working on it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a huge like question mark in terms of like when we should expect to see this game. But I think this is like really interesting thing to talk about, Christian, since we were discussing on Jedi Nights yesterday just a little bit about like we were questioning if Lucasfilm Games is going to keep its contract with EA, and it looks like they're kind of expanding, obviously, from that. Though I think it should be mentioned that this Wired story also says that EA is going to keep making games in the future, but that Lucasfilm Games is seeking other partners. So it doesn't seem as though EA is like completely out of the question. It just seems like they're testing the waters in other ways.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to bring up, because we know Jedi Fallen Order was a huge success. There is absolutely going to be a sequel to that. There's a world where that doesn't drop until 2023 or later, honestly. Same thing with Battlefront. Like, I think Battlefront and Fallen Order are safe. I think those are probably absolutely going to continue just because of how well they sell. We know Bob Iger, when he was reigning as CEO, was very happy with the performance of the EA Star Wars games. So I think a Battlefront 3 and a Fallen Order 2, those will absolutely happen, I think.
Yeah, that, and then like to a lesser extent, but honestly, I could see it just not continuing. Squadrons, you know, Squadrons is like the weird one. You know, it's very, very limited. They've been vocally really weird about it. First saying that there's gonna be no post content, then it ended up being post content. You know, so like that game is kind of odd, and like I feel like, you know, it could, like, Squadrons could easily live on inside of a Battlefront 3, because it kind of did for the first Battlefront and Battlefront 2 especially anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So we'll see if that ever has a sequel, and if it doesn't, I totally get it. And I don't think anyone's really I don't think anyone's really clamping at the bit for a new Squadrons
Sure.
currently, or like see it being a sequel. But definitely let Respawn keep doing Fallen Order till that's or I guess Star Wars Jedi, that title of games with the placement of the colon and all that. And then keep Battlefront 3, because I think that they do, those truly like battle multiplayer modes that we've seen in Battlefield a lot, was translated over to Battlefront. So I think that it's a great fit. I would like to see them continue with that for sure. And just add on more studios and more games. I'm with that
For sure.
definitely.
Well, I think that's everything official that there is to talk about with this brand new contract reveal. Again, I'm just really excited. I'm excited for what this means about the future of Star Wars games. It is weird because, Mike, again, we talked about this on Jedi Knights yesterday, but Traveler's Tales is WB owned. They have Lego. They've been able to put some Lego games out during the EA years. Oculus was able to put a couple games out, like Vader Immortal, and I know that's an ILM thing, but I don't know. This is obviously going to begin development before the EA contract is expired, but yeah, I wouldn't plan on seeing this soon. I wouldn't plan on getting a name or a concept soon. Maybe at the earliest we get a concept trailer next year at E3 or something, but regardless, I think this is a great day for the future of Star Wars games. But,
For sure. I'm super excited for this, man. Like, really hyped.
Like, for me, honestly, to like kind of end off with, my main like hype derives, when I hear a new Star Wars game is being developed by Ubisoft Massive, is what we talked about a lot, which is the world. I think Ubisoft open worlds they're like, go play Odyssey if you have it.
Yeah.
That map is massive, right? Like, it is such a huge map, and with Valhalla, it's a little bit smaller, but I feel like there's more diversity in their maps, and they just make it look super good with the lighting and just everything that goes into that map. You can tell that they spend a lot of time on that open world, and really think about how a player is going to traverse through this open world and just make it seem like so lived in, and it just feels fluid, that map and the maps they make. So just seeing like what a Coruscant could look like, what a Camino could look like,
Yeah, like Naboo. Like, there's a lot of awesome
Kashyyyk.
cities you could do.
So, oh my god, like, come on now. I'm so excited, And are we going to even get multiple locations? Like, that could be a thing, I'm down with that. Valhalla kind of messed with that too. With Valhalla, there is, I think, 5 or 6 different maps that you go to throughout the game, optional or not. There's like one main one, of course, where the main game takes place, but there's 5 different other ones as well. So could that have been them messing around with that and, having different locations and different maps that are a little bit smaller in scope, but to kind of fulfill that? Could that be, the first, like practice runs of them doing that? And we'll see that a lot more in this game. We'll see, but I'm excited.
Yeah. So, to wrap it up, it's probably a ways out, but I have faith. Lucasfilm is working with Massive to develop a brand new story-driven open-world Star Wars adventure. Massive did tweet out, "We're super proud to share this with all of you today. This is a galaxy we love, and we want to do justice through a game and story that bring both lifelong and new fans on an immersive and outstanding journey that will stay with them for years." Boba Fett Origins. That's what that means.
Read between the lines.
Exactly. But until we get our first look at this, we will absolutely be covering whatever comes of this on Jedi Knights. And probably when it comes out, Kevin and I will be talking about our time playing it. But until then, Mike...
It's a new era of Star Wars games, guys. I'm excited.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see what's next, because maybe this year we get more announcements. That's the good news.
Maybe this week we'll get more announcements.
Dude, I know.
It's only Christian. It's only Wednesday.
I know.
In the week of dreams, it's only Wednesday.
Yeah, Mike.
It's only Wednesday.
On Friday, we're gonna get your old Knights of the Old Republic remaster. Just watch. But
oh yeah, that's probably happening.
Until then, where can everybody find you, Mike?
You can follow me on Twitter at Mike P. Connors.
Very nice. Kevin, yourself?
YouTube.com/PlayStation Source. We started Ratchet & Clank Future Tools of Destruction. You can watch that on the playlist on the channel if you missed the stream. It's very, very good. Been enjoying that, as well as we have some new Returnal info that we got to go over that will be on the channel today at a later point this day. And, of course, Twitter at PSSourceVids. And, yeah, all the good stuff.
Very nice. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok. Chun2D2. Lots of Star Wars content coming your way from us on JoyClicks, individually as well. And youtube.com/JoyClicks is where you are right now. We've done, like we mentioned at the top of the show, a couple discussions and breakdowns this week on some of the other Lucasfilm announcements. You can check those out on the channel as well. And Mike and I, our Star Wars show goes live every Tuesday night, Jedi Nights, on youtube.com/JoyClicks and podcast services. And I can guarantee you, the next episode of that show, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. We're going to have some more feelings next week, I'm sure. And potentially more news. But until then, thanks for watching if you did. Hope you stick around if you're new. And until next week, this is the way, and it's also pizza time.
This is the way. Pizza. This is the way to pizza. That too.
Nice.